Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. So I just want to say I've been coming to ABS now for about 10 years. And whenever I'm down here, there were always brands that I would look at in individuals that were running multiple locations and people that were in the industry. And this is kind of a cool moment. We're here today with Tony Gordon. I've been following what y'all do. 6 locations, I believe. And how many times are you in a salon today? 200?
21 times.
21?
21. We've been in existence for 25 years, 21 times. Not all in a row. But yes, 21.
I thought when we jumped in here, like, and you're so humble about it. It's like, yeah, we've been at like 4 or 5 times. And in my mind, you're like, yeah, us too. It's like, oh, sure, that's neat. Wow. No, you literally have won it 4 to potentially 5 times as many. Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's cute.
But it's interesting. It's interesting.
Like nice job, champ.
No, it's interesting because it's not, there's so many different categories within it.
Yeah.
And most of the time we have won it for growth, and that is an accolade right there.
Yep.
But sometimes it hasn't been for growth. It's been for advanced education programs or something to that effect, or culture.
Yep.
Which, we really pride ourselves on both of those things.
I love it. And well done. Let's jump in here. So the banter where we're going to be in with here, if you could be amazing at any hobby instantly, just for bragging rights, what would it be?
Well, I don't know if you call it a hobby. I think my current alternative thing that I do right now is I do triathlons, like small ones, like the sprint level ones. I show up, I try, and I complete, I finish uninjured with sustained effort. If I could be amazing at it, I would be doing the big ones like Ironmans, you know. I am not there. But, and I don't think that's going to happen with running 6, running 6 salons.
Yeah, you're going to have to dedicate your life to do it.
Right. So, no. So, but I'm not sure you consider that to be a hobby.
I do.
You do?
Oh, yeah. To some people.
That'd be a
punishment for me.
Would be so interesting.
So,
if I could be immediately good at it, like some of those, guys who do joinery and stuff like that. Yeah.
Tony, I got to share this. So, and there's not a lot of people that will understand this accolade. So I had a client by the name of Wolfgang. And Wolfgang was a AODA counselor at the end of the day, also at one point in time convicted felon. I believe it was for trafficking. So went from a trafficking convicted felon, got it expunged, then turned into being an AODA counselor, right, for a technical college. Amazing mentor to me.
OAD?
AODA, so alcohol, other drug, whatever type of counselor. So like went from running it to like, hey, let's keep you clean, right? But here's the point though with Wolfgang. So I'm swimming laps. This is easily about a decade ago. And there is this beast in the pool. This guy is tatted like head to toe, but like collar line though, right? So like when he's dressed, like you couldn't tell. And the guy gets out, he's got a shaved head with just this patch back here that he would have wrapped and braided. And I'm like, this guy is wild. Come to find out, he is a Ultraman guy. So that's the back-to-back Iron Man. Yeah. And I just sat there, I was like, I'd bring all 30 friends that I know to my name, right? And this guy would handle us all. This guy was a beast. Yeah. And when he told me though, he's like, it's part of my lifestyle. Yeah. So, I think at the highest level of hobby, it becomes part of your lifestyle. Right.
That is very interesting. And that there was a guy who, I think he was the drummer in Black Flag. He had serious drug issues. Maybe he was the lead singer. I don't remember. I never was into Black Flag, but they were a big band in like the 80s. And he got really into triathlons. Like Ironman, half Ironman level. Yeah. And one of the things he said was triathlons and these ultra things, it's perfect for people who have a lot of work to do on themselves.
100%.
Because it's like a type of therapy.
Yeah.
When you're out there, and there's something really special about endurance sports.
Yeah.
Endurance sports are a different animal. When you're out there for hours, you're out there with your thoughts and all those positive things that are coming from the physical movement, and it's a special place.
Yeah.
Maybe it helps a lot of people get all that other stuff under control.
100%. And what a great outlet, right? Yeah. So speaking of that, I mean, this human is, I'll say that, like, I'll be like, oh, this song's kind of off. He's like,
What
well,
do you
yeah,
mean,
it's
like Evan?
Yeah, Evan.
Oh.
I'll say something about music and he'll be like, well, yeah, the reason it doesn't sound right is because the piano isn't tuned right. Like, he can pick out things within audio. It's like his like nth gift. Like,
and it's weird that my hearing is so good because I played in a band for 7 years, and like I'd walk off the stage with my ears ringing, and I'm like, I'm doing so much damage. But
yeah,
yeah, I went to the doctor. I remember not long after that, and they're like, no, your hearing's great. So I think it was just being young and
maybe.
Now if I was doing that now, I don't know. Right.
You never know. Are you good at picking up languages?
No, well, I haven't really tried. So
I barely have English figured out.
Yeah, I've got the Southern accent.
Yeah, you got that.
What's your hobby that?
I'm gonna just extend the one that I'm actually doing right now. If I could be better at drifting, that would be the thing. So when you talk about something, you got to be fully immersed in it. It's the most mechanically challenging, mentally challenging, physically challenging. Automobile.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I competitively drift.
Really?
Yeah.
How do they measure that?
So
in a slide?
Long story short, someone said it's like automotive dancing. So the idea is that you are very coordinated with others, in a very, very, like, you are right on the edge of what is in control and out of control.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's the thing that I would just be, I would just want to be better
I
at.
love auto sports.
Yeah.
But I have not heard of that.
Well,
for serious.
Hey, I'm dropping you my whole schedule. Come on up. Quick 3-hour drive.
Wow.
We'll get you in the car.
They drift on like a mud track or something?
No, asphalt or ice.
Asphalt.
Yeah,
okay.
or ice.
Okay.
I'll get you in both.
Wow.
I got you.
Ice?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a different.
I love it all. Yeah. What about you?
I mean, my first one, my go-to would be golf, but like, I don't have a ton of friends who golf. So like for bragging rights, this is obviously cutting hair and coloring hair is not a hobby, but that's what I would pick because then I could have bragging rights because then I could go.
Oh, okay.
So,
bro, I got you.
Or I was thinking I play guitar. So like if I was a really great guitarist, then everybody would appreciate. If I was a great golfer, most people would be like, okay, it looks easy. It's not that. But if I was a great guitarist, I think people would be like, okay, I know that. So
yeah.
I think I would go with being
the next
great
Jeff Beck.
Oh, look at you. Man. I'm an average guitarist, but I would like to be amazing.
And you're humble, so I bet you're better than average, but we'll let you
we'll let
you fall on that side.
I'm a grip it and rip it kind of guy. So all right, let's go ahead and jump into the podcast.
Small town I grew up in, the higher end salons, they had this like buzz to them. There was this like energy of collaboration and creativity and people having conversations, real life, connections.
Yeah.
And there's this buzz, and some brands have it and some brands don't, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So in your mind, what does a healthy salon look like to you at this level that you're at?
I think that there's something called group flow. Group flow is when, there's individual flow, which is when a person is in sync, and hairdressers behind the chair go into flow.
Yep.
So basically flow is a higher level thought where thought becomes less, I would say. It's sort of like time flies when you're having fun. So when you're doing something that you're really good at, you become a lot more effective. And they're saying that flow actually increases people's productivity by up to 500%. That's, it could be true, maybe even more for some people, maybe less, but there's studies that show that when people are really engaged in something that they're really good at, it's kind of like when you're totally focused in something, right? That during that and something that you're good at and you're totally focused in on it, you actually increase your productivity pretty dramatically. And by the end of the day, you're like, where did that day go? It was amazing, right? I mean, look at all this stuff that I did and how much money I made and like blah, blah, blah. And so the people are individually in flow behind the chair. That's just normal for us. It's true in a lot of career fields, especially music, dance, great martial artists are in flow in the ring, right? That's really difficult when death is possible. It also can happen on a group level.
Yeah.
Like you see this in basketball where a team is like or a band, right? A classic band that's really in flow. They've been in sync with each other for a long time.
Yeah.
And so they know how each other react. They may be listening to their client and hearing somebody else is adding a full head of highlights down the way and how that's going to affect the whole group.
Yep.
And so I think they're in flow. And it usually means that there is a buzz happening in the place.
Yeah.
There's a lot of connection. The client may be even feeding into that flow. They're working with their assistants, with their desk in a really, really positive way. There would be a high level of psychological safety where everybody can really connect with each other.
Yeah.
And there's a tad of risk taking that can happen as well. Like somebody is going to add that.
Yep.
Full head of highlights, and the group is going to react positively and make it so that they're integrated. So probably you're going to see group flow.
Gosh, that's such a great
that
answer.
Didn't come natural. Wasn't like day one. So like it kind of, ups and downs, right?
Yeah, right.
So,
right. And the more you add somebody into the mix, and this is a challenge because we're in growth-oriented salons, and luxury salons like at our level are they're adding people to the mix. So you add this assistant who doesn't really know exactly how you work or how this person works. And it could be disruptive.
Yeah.
You get a small group of 4 or 5 hairdressers together that have been with each other for years, and they're in flow all the time. The thing is that how can you integrate that newbie? Well is the question. Really. Yeah.
Tony, you're so right with this. And, I got into a conversation. I love talking to people outside the industry about some of the weird things we do. We do shadow shifts. So before we'll hire someone, like it's like very early in the interview process. And the reason that we do them for 3 to 4 hours. And the reason that I have someone in there, one, I want to see how you show up for 3 to 4 hours, and it's unpaid, right? And it's also for the team to be able to say like, hey, this person just like they naturally work their way into the tapestry, right? Versus they're like, hey, that piece of thread, that was like putting wool next to me, right? Like it just it wasn't right.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And it's your comment to that though, and watching for what is the individual going to add to the flow? Are they an addition to the flow, or do they pull something from it?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, and I love that for like 3-4 hours. Recently we did that with somebody, and I still wanted more. So we have a similar onboarding program, or maybe this is like interview level. They're not really hired yet.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
I really like something we just did was I want to bring you back for another interview.
Yep.
And I'm going to pay you for the day.
Okay.
So just to even figure it out a little bit further and to make sure they know what they're getting themselves into.
Right.
Because it's going to include feedback.
Right.
In real time to help you get better.
Yep.
Without destroying their psychological safety. If you lose that, the relationship is broken between that stylist, who's the senior stylist, who's going to really give you great feedback and get you to where you need to be really quickly or quicker.
Yeah.
You can't go too far. Not everyone can take it to the level or the speed at which you need. So
I'm really taken back by your awareness to create psychological safety. In Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it's foundational, right? If we do not feel safe and secure, and I'll as a leader, man, in my unhealed days, the moment that I think about that, I think of, like I can think of a number of humans. I was like, the reason I lost the relationship was because I was either withholding or, I was scared of the relationship by some candor feedback I needed to give. Right.
Yeah.
And the damage that you can do.
It really does come down to psychological safety. It does. I mean, there's other factors as well, but that's a big one.
All right. Hey, shameless plug. We want to continue to serve. Check out the App Store. Type in The Refined Network. It's available both on Apple and Android. Here's the thing. It's a way that we can continue to serve you. All of our podcasts, all of our digital resources, and our community is there. Here's the thing. We believe that we're better together. Back to the episode.
When did the company start?
1999.
So 1999 to 2025, a lot has changed. What have you personally had to maybe release to grow your leadership, to grow the company to where it is now?
That's good. I have always operated where people sort of would wrestle, my staff would wrestle me for the control of certain departments. So I was, for instance, teaching hair cutting and coloring. And one of my employees who's an innovative professional sort of wrestled that away. She said, I'll take that, and actually took on the Department of Education and ran it for a long time. Now other employees are doing that as well. And that was really great, because really it became more and more and too much, actually. And I find that I'm still doing this to a degree. Like if I lose someone, or if something is falling down, I step into the breach, right? I'm the one who says, if I can't find someone, then I'll step in.
I'll fill the gap.
And it could be really anything. This thing needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
The repair guy is 3 weeks out.
Yeah.
I'll go over there and
YouTube University, man.
And I will, did anybody try, you would need an electrician. Did anybody try pushing the
reset button?
The reset button.
How
right?
it literally, like the amount of time I looked like a genius going I just turned it on and off.
Yeah. Did you
I
check
unplugged
the
it for 15 seconds.
I do have people on my staff who know all about that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I've had girls who will just go fix a shelf, or pick up a paintbrush. I mean, but the person to fix it's great, because the person to fix it is literally 3 weeks out.
Yeah.
So that's why I think group flow is so important.
Yeah.
Is that we're very team oriented, so that is good and bad in a lot of ways. In the bad way, it will knock people out who aren't really with the program. They can't stay. The staff will fire them.
Sure.
Right?
Yep.
I want to give them another 6 months for them to get their act together. And the staff is like, no.
I've learned my lesson with that. I'll re-enneagram them, be like, okay, let's have this conversation.
Use the Enneagram?
Yes, sir.
The Enneagram.
Yeah. So we actually, we're big believers in components with it. My main thing of it is personal growth, no matter which way you slice the pie, I'm game, right? The Enneagram gives us a shared language. And I'm true to be in the sense that the amount of personalities and things that we deal with within a salon company, understanding what we do in areas of strength, in areas of weakness, in areas of scarcity. Mm-hmm. I just think, again, the psychological safety, it's one thing to be you're wired to do this naturally. I see you. Mm-hmm. Right. So I'm a huge believer in that. The one thing I wanted to say is definitely, just by the definition of filling the gap, just a natural servant leader you are. Yeah. Right. And Evan and I were just talking about this on another episode on where, we will both work the front desk in our spaces. Mm-hmm. Right. And I always say, if it comes by someone being sick, a funeral, something going on with their little one or whatever, I'm always happy to jump in, because I'm always going to learn something of man, this process is not serving us anymore. Right. And we need to update it. Right.
Right.
So in that idea of
it is true. Did you ever, Dell, the computer company?
Yeah.
And the guy's name who owns it, I think his name is Dell. Anyway, this is a multi-million-dollar company.
Right.
And once a month, he would go work the phones.
Smart.
And there's something, it's smart what you're doing, which is you're actually understanding what it is it's in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is one way, people say to me, why are you still on the floor? You got 6 salons, and I'm on the floor, basically 2 days a month, right? 6 hours. So a total of 12 hours a month. It's not that much, right? But it's people say, oh, you'd be much more effective just being in the office. But it's that little bit of being on the floor, to see it from the perspective of the staff and to see it from the perspective of the client. We learn so much from clients too.
1,000%.
Yeah. So it's just sort of, you're still in there to know what it is. It does become difficult.
Yeah.
The bigger you get, the harder that is to maintain. And I do find that those other days, this is a Friday, those other Fridays that I'm off, those weeks are more productive for the whole company. Like for me to get things done. So it really is like in all things, it's a catch-22. It really is. There is that question about, is this the right thing or that thing to do? People are saying things like, you got to get out from behind the chair and run your company. And other people are saying, is that really the best way? Is that the best way to go? Now, maybe pre-AI.
Yeah.
Maybe it is.
Yeah.
But maybe now where nobody's going to replicate your hands.
Yeah.
Right?
100%.
So maybe we're all going back to, maybe this is the teeter-totter moment where we're going to go back the other way, where like you can't be replaced. At least as of now, the robots don't exist.
Yeah.
Right? So,
and I don't think the robot is going to be able to, build relationship, build understanding. And maybe it would be able to read, heart rate is up, pupil size got big, but like, is it really going to understand like, oh, hey, are you okay? Are you okay?
Well, I think at the end of the day, like people want to know, like, is Tony for me?
Oh,
yeah. Yeah.
Like that as a leader in our people in our companies, we want people to be like, Evan, he's for me.
Yeah.
And AI can't do that part.
Yeah.
It can definitely do a lot of the task stuff, but when it comes to leading people, it's always going to take heart, and it's always going to take a human.
As long as those clients want to be serviced by a human.
Yeah.
I think that'll be the ultimate question. And it depends on how good the AI and the robots get.
Yeah.
And yet you really don't know. This thing is evolving very fast, but I think there's going to be physical limitations. The other thing is, and I think there's something, this is going to get a little philosophical, not necessarily about how salons operate, but the AI, you have to remember that the AI may improve us.
Oh, it already
as humans.
Yes.
Right. So
yes.
You can't remember like a computer can remember things.
Right.
Really?
Right.
It's possible you can't.
Yeah.
Maybe with the assistance of AI. But I think AI is not just going to improve the things that take away our tasks that we're currently doing.
Yeah.
They're going to make us better, healthier, smarter.
We had a conversation, and I dropped it with Gordon Miller, but I'm looking at AI as an intuitive extension.
Mm-hmm.
Like when we think about that, like intuitively, like there's certain things that when you do something for 10,000 hours, you become masterful at it. Right. Now, I do believe that within the actual technical application of the craft, I don't know, because here's the thing, like it might be able to read how is the human responding at the end of the appointment. And then you have to go into like, oh, if it's just reading on facial recognition, that person might not get excited about anything. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I look at this as, I think the high application of it is it's an intuitive extension and it expands what we currently understand.
Yeah.
Right.
But I think you're onto something which is really interesting. Like how many iterations before the AI is going to say, this is really what's happening? That pupil dilation and that facial expression means X.
Yep.
And I think it could be a long way off unless you could take it from society as a whole.
Yep.
Right. Everywhere. Like, yeah.
I'm just going to throw this one out there because I like, if I see something that's far out there in the future, I like to just timestamp it.
Mm-hmm.
So the way that I think it could be is the way that we all have facial recognition on our phone, the amount that it's reading on FaceTime per our conversations.
Mm.
So then imagine, right now, Apple, I'm sure they're already on top of this, but imagine if they're able to upload that to the server that
you're right.
IE would be able to say, oh, Tony actually really didn't like that because he blinked his eye.
I'm trying to stay optimistic here because this means
I'm getting out in the weeds.
What you're saying, let me interpret for the audience here a little bit. What you're saying is that the AI is going to move even faster.
Yeah.
Because they already have this tech.
It's already there. We're just plugging.
Already there.
Yep.
And they just need to interpret it. Can they see that that dilation of pupil, and can they interpret what does it mean? And therefore, how can it enhance our intuition even that much quicker?
And again,
like you're right.
It goes from illustrated example to intuitive expansion.
In regard to large-scale luxury salons that are usually training their own staff, because everybody's coming out of beauty school and they don't know enough. Right? They're not good enough.
What?
Especially if they're...
You don't say.
Especially if humans need 10,000 hours. Like you say, let's say it's not even 10,000. It's somewhere between 4,000 and 10,000. Nonetheless, you need a lot of iterations of you learning that haircut. Right? And you learning and doing color formulation before you get to any level of like mastery. Where then you're really in flow, like you're killing it right behind the chair. That kind of iteration, how do you get there that quickly? How can we train people faster is basically what I'm saying.
On the tee.
Tony, you literally, man. So this is where and the thing I'll be thankful for right now is you can't make this up, and we have it. This is all live. We are at ABS. It is 2025. One of the things that we saw within both of our companies was exactly that problem. So we came up with something called the Artist Academy, and we have filmed it ourselves. We have edited it ourselves, right? When we ran AI to see like what would this had cost, and I think it was around 200,000 was like the low end of it. But basically, what we wanted to do was we wanted available so that when you're coming into our company, it's on your phone, it's digital. We have a workbook that goes along with it. It onboards and takes them through a technical skill set journey, right? We have it set for 6 months. The whole thing is laid out within the book. You're led through it. And then the time that you have with your mentor, instead of the mentor being over your shoulder for 8 hours watching you do a bob 16 times, we have them do it on their own, documenting that process. And then we have them with the educator for 2 hours per se at the end of the week. So the thing that we saw with it, we knew we're like, hey, we have belief within this, right? And we were on, shout out Beauty School Bobby. We were on our way back from the Tennessee Beauty Awards, right? That's what it was. And we're in the car, and Aaron's like, man, I wonder if we could figure out the ROI on this. And I was like, say no more. So on the 3-hour ride back, I'm sitting in the back seat, just picking her mind. I was like, what about this? She goes, yep, build that in. So by the time we got back, I had done the whole thing for the ROI of this on how many people that you onboard in a year, how many hours does it take your staff to do this? And the wild thing was like the break-even point wasn't even real. When you deployed this with one person, it already won. And it wasn't even close, right?
Classic training program.
Correct. Yep.
You're saying it takes them through more iterations of each one of these technical skills?
Yeah, it goes through the styling, the cutting,
coloring,
the coloring.
And it does this on their own?
Yeah. What we found in our company is we were burning out educators. Because it said, all right, I'm the educator, Christopher's the associate, the assistant, or whatever. And I'm like, hey, I'm about to do a bob. I've got a guest coming in. You're going to watch. I'm going to communicate to you, and I'm going to talk to the guest. It's not a great guest experience.
Right.
And a bob is very intentional. So it just burns out educators. So what we created was the Artist Academy. And so Christopher's going to work with me Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. On Friday is going to be his Artist Academy day. So he's going to pull out the app on his phone. He's going to get his workbook out, and he's going to get a mannequin out at his station. He's going to do a bob haircut. And then he's going to come and say, hey, I did a bob haircut. Can you come check it? And I might look and go, oh, okay, well, here, do some corrections. Be like, hey, let's do it again. And so he's going to do it again. He's going to write down what products he used. He wrote down any notes, and then I'm going to sign off on it. Well, after 6 months, this whole entire workbook that goes through all these skills are all signed off on. So does he feel more confident going on the floor? Yeah. Do I feel more confident? Yes.
About putting them on the floor? Yeah.
Because I've signed, an educator has signed off on it.
Okay. So the main thing that you said though was like your ability to have like belief in someone is longer than might the team see it, right? So this tool not only helps you onboard, but also it can help you say, hey, this is not the right vehicle for you.
It sounds
right?
neat.
We have it set up so that it's a 6-month process, right? The thing that was so interesting was we had onboarded someone recently within our company, and she finished it in 3.5. She was taking it home and doing the work. So yes, that over immersion, right? her ability to be able to have it at home, right? And be able to invest in that way and hack time in that way.
Yeah.
I think it would be inarguable to say that like, you're just 10xing yourself, right?
Yeah.
Cool
Yeah.
process.
I would love to talk for like another hour or two, because this is very just relational and conversational. But
I think our listeners are probably they're like, my cup is full. I'm ready to use this.
We really appreciate you taking time out of a busy day and to spend with us.
Well, thanks for having me.
What a fun conversation.
And we connected on Clubhouse. If you remember Clubhouse, shout out, over during the pandemic. So it was great, 5 years later to connect in person. And really appreciate what you're doing for your salon company, what you're doing for the industry. And we appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
So,
Evan, Christopher.
Awesome. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Refine Network podcast. As always, if you need anything, you can just email us at hello@therefinenetwork.com.